upgrade on his predecessor. Of course, drove up thousands of pounds in mortgages, but I withdraw that now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When the Prime Minister and the Chancellor discuss the importance of supporting working families, I think of the dedicated farmers in South Norfolk. The Prime Minister has constantly acknowledged the critical role of food security and the need for farmers to have certainty to plan. Can the Prime Minister confirm what action our government will be taking to back British farming in constituencies like mine?
Mr. Speaker, I welcome my honourable friend to his place. And talking of predecessors, no one did more damage to rural constituencies than his nearby predecessor, whose disastrous mini-budget crashed the economy and hurt his constituents. I do note that she's been tweeting approval of the current Shadow Chancellor's attacks on the independent OBR, just showing the party opposite have learned absolutely nothing. Farms have been forced out of business due to Tory neglect, and we will turn that around, and you'll hear more about that in the budget in just a minute.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Robert Jones and Agnes Hunt Hospital in Oswestry, my constituency, is home to the Veterans Orthopaedic Service, and that's by far the largest provider of veterans hospital care in the country. It's a fine example of what you can build when the NHS and the local authority work together. It costs no extra public money to set it up, but because of NHS changes in the way ICBs charge each other, it's been left with a funding shortfall. Will the Prime Minister come and visit this fantastic facility in beautiful North Shropshire and see for himself why it's so important we keep it going?
I thank the honourable member for raising that issue, and we're all grateful to our veterans for their service in protecting our country. I do understand the value of the centre that she references and the support that it provides for veterans, and we are committed to ensuring veterans receive the employment, the mental health and the housing support that they need. The upcoming budget will set out the changes that we'll be making. Thank you.
Jim Nixon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After 14 years of failure by the last government to renew and grow the UK's infrastructure, does the Prime Minister agree with me that additional investment is needed to kickstart economic growth? And that investment... Mr. Speaker, this is the important bit. And then investing in a new Lower Thames crossing to relieve Dartford residents from gridlock caused by overcapacity at the Dartford crossing, thereby boosting the North Kent and UK economy by £40 billion would be an excellent project to start.
Mr. Speaker, I'm really pleased that under this government, Britain has £63 billion worth of investment, which will measure in tens of thousands of jobs. Our number one mission is growth. You'll be hearing a lot more about that in just a few minutes' time.
David Vandell.
Sorry guys. Okay, I think it's all set up.
Died as a result of having his soft drink spike shortly after he went to college.
So bear with me while I'm just setting up everything.
With the legislation proposed by the previous government. But can the Prime Minister assure them that they and other campaigners will work with ministers and officials, not only in bringing forward that legislation, but to ensure that awareness is raised of this abhorrent practice and its potentially fatal consequences?
Can I thank the Right Honourable Member for raising that tragic case? And I join him in paying tribute to Greg's parents. Their tireless work to raise awareness of spiking, to support victims and call for changes in the law is inspiring. What they've been through.
TikTok ban हो गया जी. I was just live होने मैं live हुआ सी तो then straight away it's got banned. So no idea. But that's okay. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता अपन. ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਯੂਕੇ ਦਾ ਬਜਟ ਆ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਵੀ ਆ।
Can I welcome my honourable friend to the place? I think she's the first female, first Labour MP for Aldershot. Emma, I should do a job for her constituents. Rushmore Borough Council was left with a shortfall of over £90 million over the last 4 years.
ਸੋ USA ਦੀ GDP ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਰੈਡ ਆਈ ਆ, so that should push the gold back up.
We will work hand in hand with multi-year funding settlements.
ਸੋ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੈੱਲ ਹੱਲੇ ਵੀ ਓਪਨ ਆ, you guys can take profit.
No question what.
I just secured with a
Prime Minister, you mentioned veterans.
extra.
As we approach remembrance, one group of veterans we all owe a great debt are those who served during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. Hundreds were killed. Thousands were made by both Republican and
So USA ਦੀ GDP ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਡਾਊਨ ਆ, so
veterans now.
it's in red. It was expected to be 3, it came on 2.8. I think that should push the gold back up. So ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ gold ਦਾ Y signal
In part to protect them from endless investigation and reinvestigation. Why, sir, are you throwing those veterans to the wolves to pander to Sinn Féin?
Can I just say, no member's been here for a long time. You is not me. I don't want it to be me, please.
I'm not.
And that was a rather abrupt end to Prime Minister's questions, as there is going to be a handover. You can see now Nusrat Ghani in the Speaker's chair. She is one of the deputy speakers, and she presides over the budget, the delivery of those finance measures that are coming from the Chancellor, and as is tradition, she will be there throughout all of the debate afterwards. While that continues, and while we wait for Rachel Reeves to stand up, let me welcome back my colleagues, Chris Mason and Faisal Islam. What was striking about that Prime Minister's questions was it was really all about Rishi Sunak, wasn't it, Chris?
It was, and it's a reminder of the humans at the heart of politics.
Yeah.
That it is possible. We've seen it a few times since the general election. For people who are implacably opposed on so much politically, to just have a public exchange where they acknowledge their kind of common humanity, and that they're both doing, and one of them is doing a job that the other one did. It's quite striking actually. The Conservatives have said before that Rishi Sunak was going to focus on things that were close to his heart. What was there? Yorkshire,
Yes.
Cricket,
Yes.
Northern Ireland. There's one other thing actually. I can't remember what the other thing was.
No, but as you say, they were all his sort of personal passions, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. And then that collective sense, that moment marked, if you like, of having a minority ethnic British Prime Minister.
Well, indeed, in your reflections on that too, because of course Rishi Sunak always used to say what's great about it is that it's not really noticed.
Yes, I remember being outside number 10 when it happened in my jobs economics sense. And almost like, well, should we mention this? Should we mention this? It's okay to mention it, right? It's okay to mention it. Because it was a moment.
Of course.
But I also think what you saw reflected in PM Hughes is across the House's a lot of respect for his work as Chancellor, especially during the
Absolutely.
I have to say that I doubted that they turned around the fellow speakers as they did. And that has had a huge impact on millions of people. I mean, he hasn't checked out politics entirely, but this is the end of frontline public service for now. I guess for now, that's
Yeah, but he's still a young man, isn't he? It's 44, isn't it? We just
Mm.
what there's a broad-based respect within and beyond his own party. That he worked blooming hard at the various jobs he did. Now, people will have arguments forever, of course, about whether he did a good job. That's a separate question.
And called an election earlier than
And
most
all
of
of that, I mean, all of that. But I think there's a genuine sort of recognition that he's sort of back into it and is seen as a decent shout.
Well, because we've spoken a lot today about firsts, first Labour budget for 14 years, first female chancellor, and this is lasts for Rishi Sunak, not leaving Parliament as yet, but yes, last major appearance at the Dispatch Box, and of course he made the joke, quite rightly, that he enjoyed the Prime Minister's questions ahead of the budget because it wouldn't be him that would be the sort of main event, but he is answering, of course, today.
Yeah, and so he has this last moment, and there's been some argument within the Conservatives. Oh, is it about to start?
Here we go.
GBP JPY ਤਾਂ ਹਲੇ at the moment we just keep an eye on the budget. let's see which side the budget will come in directors.
On July the 4th, the country
So there you go.
voted for change. This government was given a mandate to restore stability to our economy and to begin a decade of
So I set up few pending orders,
fix
especially with the GBP
foundations
JPY and
and
GBP
deliver
USD.
change through responsible leadership in the national interest. That is our task. And I know
Mainly, I'm expecting pound to go weaker, so I got a buy in Euro GBP, sell in GBP USD, and you know, but it all depends on how her speech mold the budget. So I got a pending order in GBP JPY.
An economy that is growing, creating wealth and opportunity for all. Because that is the only way to improve living standards. And the only way to drive economic growth is to invest, invest, invest. There are no shortcuts. And to deliver that investment, we must restore economic stability and turn the page on the last 14 years. This is not the first time that it has fallen to the Labour Party to rebuild Britain. In 1945, it was the Labour Party that rebuilt our country from the rubble of the Second World War. In 1964, it was the Labour Party that rebuilt Britain with the white heat of technology. And in 1997, it was the Labour Party that rebuilt our schools and hospitals. Today, it falls to this Labour Party, to this Labour government, to rebuild Britain once again. And while this is the first budget in more than 14 years to be delivered by a Labour Chancellor, it is the first budget in our country's history to be delivered by a woman. I am deeply proud to be Britain's first ever female Chancellor of the Exchequer. To girls and young women everywhere, I say, let there be no ceiling on your ambition, your hopes, and your dreams. And along with the pride that I feel standing here today, there is also a responsibility to pass on a fairer society and a stronger generation to the next generation of women. Madam Deputy Speaker, the party opposite failed. Their austerity broke our national health service. Their Brexit deal harmed British businesses. And their mini budget left families paying the price with higher mortgages. The British people have inherited their failure. A black hole in the public finances. Public services on their knees. A decade of low growth and the worst parliament on record for living standards. Let me begin with the public finances. In July, I exposed a £22 billion black hole at the heart of the previous government's plans. A series of promises that they made but had no money to deliver. Covered up from the British people, covered up from this house. The Treasury's reserve set aside for genuine...
So gold वाला ਜਿਹੜਾ signal ਮੈਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ VIP group ਚ, if you're not looking in the VIP group, the TP1 is hit already. So TP2 ਤੇ TP3 ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅੱਧਾ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਲਓ. So just scrape some profit and wait for the next TP to be hit.
line-by-line breakdown of the £22 billion black hole that we inherited. It shows hundreds of unfunded pressures on the public finances this year and into the future too. the circumstances around the spring budget forecast. They say that the previous government, and I quote, did not provide the OBR with all the information to them. And had they known about these undisclosed pressures that have since come to light, then their spring budget forecast for spending would have been, and I quote again, materially different. Let me be clear. That means any comparison between today's forecast and the OBR's March forecast is false. Because the party opposite hid the reality of their public spending plans. Yet, at the very same budget, they made another £10 billion worth of cuts to national insurance. It was the height of irresponsibility, and they knew it. Because they had run out of road and they called an election to avoid making difficult choices. So let me make this promise to the British people. Never again will we allow a government to play fast and loose with the public finances. And never again will we allow a government to hide the true state of our public finances from our independent forecaster. That's why today I will confirm.
Oh really? How old are you?
I'm 13.
Okay, I need your parents' permission.
Can I call them right now?
Go on then.
Seriously?
Go ahead,
Mum's
Steve.
name is Simon Scribbers. Here you go, Mum. You're talking to him.
Hi Mum, how are you? He wants to tell me his dream, but I just need to get your permission before he tells me it. If that's okay, I will film it. We have approval from the big boss. Okay, tell me your dream.
My dream is to make a clothing brand. So I've started a few designs at home and stuff. Second outdoor brand called Contour. I haven't gotten like the reg thing or like trademark for it yet.
Here's the money for the trademark. Start your dream. I want to help you build the website so you can get people to sign up in advance. Now I want to tag you when I put this video up so people can follow your Instagram, follow your TikTok, take your company name and get every single handle. It's free.
How should I like get your number?
Right, delete those games by the way. Don't play those anymore. They're going to distract you. Get rid of that shit. Delete it. Delete it. Right. Well done, man. Really. Tell you're my business manager. There we go. Done. A business is born. Oh really? How old are you?
I'm 13.
Okay, I need your parents' permission.
Can I call them right now?
Go on then.
Seriously?
Go ahead,
Mum's
Steve.
name is Simon Scribbers. Here you go, Mum. You're talking to him.
Hi Mum, how are you? He wants to tell me his dream, but I just need to get your permission before he tells me it. If that's okay, I will film it. We have approval from the big boss. Okay, tell me your dream.
My dream is to make a clothing brand. So I've started a few designs at home and stuff. Second outdoor brand called Contour.
To budget the costs that they knew.
Nanni photo easy.
That includes funding for vital compensation schemes for victims of two terrible injustices.
I just mentioned respecting colleagues. The public are watching and want to hear what the Chancellor has to say.
I would politely suggest that honourable members listen to this.
Okay, guys, let's pay attention now.
For vital compensation schemes for victims of two terrible injustices.
Yeah,
The
appeal
original
got declined.
and the Post Office Horizon scandal. The leader of the opposition rightly made an unequivocal apology for the injustice of the infected blood scandal on behalf of the British state. But he did not budget for the costs of compensation. Today, for the very first time, we will provide specific funding to compensate those infected and those affected in full. With £11.8 billion in this budget. And I am also today setting aside £1.8 billion to compensate victims of the Post Office Horizon scandal. Redress that is long overdue for the pain and injustice that they have suffered. Madam Deputy Speaker, the leadership campaign for the party opposite has now been going on for over 3 months. But in all that time, not one single apology for what they did to our country. Because the Conservative Party has not changed. But this is a changed Labour Party. and we will restore stability to our country once again. The scale and seriousness of the situation that we have inherited cannot be underestimated. Together, the hole in our public finances this year, which recurs every year, the compensation schemes that they did not fund, and their failure to assess the scale of the challenges facing our public services means that this budget raises taxes by £40 billion. Any Chancellor standing here today would have to face this reality. And any responsible Chancellor would take action. That is why today I am restoring stability to our public finances and rebuilding our public services. As a former economist at the Bank of England, I know what it means to respect our economic institutions. I want to put on record my thanks to Andrew Bailey and to the Independent Monetary Policy Committee. Today I can confirm that we will maintain the MPC's target of 2% inflation as measured by the 12-month increase in the Consumer Prices Index. I want to thank James Bowler, the Permanent Secretary to the Treasury, and my team of officials. Madam Deputy Speaker, I would also like to thank my predecessors as Chancellor of the Exchequer for their wise counsel as I have prepared for this budget. In particular, I would like to thank the former Right Honourable Member for Spelthorne for his invaluable advice in this weekend's papers, where he concluded that his mini-budget, and I quote, wasn't perfect. Well, for once, Madam Deputy Speaker, I think him and I are in absolute agreement. Finally, I want to thank Richard Hughes and his team at the Office for Budget Responsibility for their work in preparing today's economic and fiscal outlook. Let me now take the House through that forecast. The cost of living crisis under the last government stretched household finances to their limit, with inflation hitting a peak of above 11%. Today, the OBR say that CPI inflation will average 2.5% this year, 2.6% in 2025, then 2.3% in 2026, 2.1% in 2027, 2.1% in 2028, and 2.0% in 2029. Next, I move on to economic growth. Today's budget marks an end to short-termism. So I am pleased that for the first time, the OBR have published not only 5-year growth forecasts, but a detailed assessment of the growth impacts of our policies over the next decade too. And the new Charter for Budget Responsibility, which I am publishing today, confirms that this will become a permanent feature.
So GBP USD sell ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਉਹ profit ਚ ਆ, Euro GBP ਜਿਹੜਾ buy ਕੀਤਾ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ profit ਚ ਆ,
2.0% in 2020, 1.8% in 2026, 1.5% in 2027, 1.5% in 2028, and 1.6% in 2029.
I think TikTok ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ I think live trading ਦਾ ਕੁਝ we will change that. We won't do live trading anymore on TikTok. I think that's why they banned me. I can understand the community guidelines and all that. GBP JPY ਹਲੇ active ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ, but I think it should be going towards sell as well.
Underpinning that mission are the 7 key pillars of our growth strategy, developed and delivered alongside.
So, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦਾ support level ਹੈ GBP JPY ਦਾ, that comes towards
First and most important is to
197.
That is my focus today.
197.80, and next target should be 194.50, 57.60 round.
We are transforming our planning rules to get Britain building again. Third, to ensure that all parts of the UK can realise their potential, we are working with the devolved governments and partnering with our mayors to develop local growth plans. Fourth, to improve employment prospects and skills, we are creating Skills England, delivering our plans to make work pay and tackling economic inactivity. Fifth, We are launching our long-term modern industrial strategy and expanding opportunities for our small and medium-sized businesses to grow. 6. To drive innovation.
Yeah, GBP JPY are go pending sell stop.
To harness the full potential of the UK science space.
Which one?
And finally, to maximise the growth benefits.
I'm gonna sell it actually.
We have confirmed key investments.
And I'm gonna take the first target and then I'm gonna
jobs in our industrial heartland.
sell again.
Our approach is already having an impact. Just 2 weeks ago, we delivered an international investment summit, which saw businesses commit £63.5 billion of investment into our.
So all three are live trades now. GBP USD, GBP JPY, and GBP Euro GBP.
14 years of damage in one go. Economic growth will be our mission for the duration of this Parliament.
Make sure keep taking profits.
Madam Deputy Speaker, in our manifesto, we set out the fiscal rules that would guide this government. I'm confirming those today. Our stability rule and our investment rule. The stability rule means that we will bring the current budget into balance so that we do not borrow to fund day-to-day spending. We will meet this rule in 2029-30 until that becomes the third year of the forecast. From then on, we will balance the current budget in the third year of every budget held annually each autumn. That will provide a tougher constraint on day-to-day spending so that difficult decisions cannot be constantly delayed or deferred. The OBR say that the current budget will be in deficit by £26.2 billion in 2025-26 and £5.2 billion in 2026-27, before moving into surplus of £10.9 billion in 2027-28, £9.3 billion in 2028-29, and £9.9 billion in 2029-30, meeting
So,
our
yeah.
stability rule 2 years
Protect कर लो अपने trade सारे. थोड़ा profit.
Sector finance data show that government borrowing in the first 6 months of this year was already running significantly higher than the OBR's March forecast. And so the OBR confirmed today that borrowing in this financial year is now £127 billion,
Oh, bloody hell.
reflecting the inheritance left by the party opposite.
Oh yeah, keep blaming.
The increase in the net cash requirement in 2024-25 is lower than the increase in borrowing, at £22.3 billion higher than the spring forecast. Because of the action that we are taking, borrowing falls from 4.5% of GDP this year to 2.1% of GDP by the end of the forecast. Public sector net borrowing will be £105.6 billion in 2025-26, £88.5 billion in 2026-27, £72.2 billion in 2027-28, £71.9 billion in 2028-29, and £70.6 billion in 2029-2030. Madam Deputy Speaker, before I come to tax, it is vital that we are driving efficiency and reducing wasteful spending. In July, to begin delivering and dealing with our inheritance, I made £5.5 billion of savings this year. Today we are setting a 2% productivity, efficiency and savings target for all departments to meet next year by using technology more effectively and joining up services across government. As set out in our manifesto, I will shortly be appointing our COVID Corruption Commissioner.
Ooh, that's brutal.
To uncover those companies that use a national emergency to line their own pockets. Because that money belongs in our public services and taxpayers want that money back. And I can confirm today that David Goldstone has been appointed as the chair of the new Office for Value for Money to help us realise the benefits from every pound of public spending. Today, I am also taking 3 steps to ensure that welfare spending is more sustainable. First, we inherited the last government's plans to reform the work capability assessment. We will deliver those savings as part of our fundamental reforms to the health and disabilities benefit system that my right honourable friend, the Work and Pension Secretary, will bring forward. Second, I can today announce a crackdown on fraud in our welfare system, often the work of criminal gangs. We will expand DWP's counter-fraud teams using innovative new methods to prevent illegal activity, and provide new legal powers to crack down on fraudsters, including direct access to bank accounts to recover debt. This package saves £4.3 billion a year by the end of the forecast.
Basically, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ fraud ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਛ, the government can take money direct from the bank account.
Tackling the root causes of inactivity with an integrated approach across health, education and welfare. And we will provide 240
GBP JPY is running in profit as well, so keep an eye.
who are economically inactive and most at risk of being out of education, employment or training.
GBP USD, you can increase some profit in that, and Euro GBP, make sure increase some profit in that.
To consider any change to a tax rate or threshold, it must ensure that people pay what they already owe. So we will invest to modernise HMRC systems using the very best technology and recruit additional HMRC compliance and debt staff. We will clamp down on those umbrella companies who exploit workers, increase the interest rate on unpaid tax debt to ensure that people pay on time, and go after the promoters of tax avoidance schemes. These measures to reduce the tax gap raise
Bloody hell, £40 billion in extra taxes.
Thank the Exchequer Secretary
What's
for
that?
his outstanding work on this agenda. Madam Deputy Speaker, I know that for working people up and down our country, family finances are stretched and paychecks don't go as far as they once did. So today I am taking steps to support people with the cost of living. It was the Labour government that introduced the national minimum wage in 1990. It had a transformative impact on the lives of working people. As promised in our manifesto, we asked the Low Pay Commission to take account of the cost of living for the first time. I can confirm that we will accept the Low Pay Commission recommendation to increase the national living wage by 6.7% to £12.21 an hour.
Not bad. Extra burden.
£400 a year for a full-time worker. And for the first time, we will move towards a single adult rate phased in over time by initially increasing the national minimum wage for 18 to 20-year-olds by 16.3% as recommended by the Low Pay Commission.
Wow,
taking
that's
it
good.
to £10 an hour.
Yeah. So youngsters will get more wages. ਜਿੱਥੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਘੱਟ ਪੈਸੇ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਸੀ.
By a Labour government once again.
Not bad.
Second, I have heard representations from colleagues across this House about the carers allowance and the impact of the current policy on carers looking to increase the hours that they work, including from the Honourable Members for Shipley, the Honourable Member for Scarborough and Whitby, and the Right Honourable Member for Kingston and Surbiton too. Carers allowance currently provides up to £81.90 per week to help those with additional caring responsibilities. Today I can confirm that we are increasing the weekly earnings limit to the equivalent of 16 hours at the national living wage per week, the largest increase in carers allowance since it was introduced in 1976. This means that a carer can now earn over £10,000
Okay, GBP USD is closed.
allowance, allowing them to increase their hours where they want to and keep more of their money. I am also concerned about the cliff edge in the current system and the issue of overpayments. My Right Honourable friend, the Work and Pensions Secretary, has announced an independent review to look at the issue of overpayments, and we will work across this House to develop the right solutions. Third, we will provide £1 billion from next year to extend the Household Support Fund and discretionary housing payments to help those facing financial hardship with the cost of essentials. Fourth, having heard representations from the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, Trussell and others to reduce the level of debt repayments that can be taken from a household's universal credit payment each month by reducing it from 25% to 15% of their standard allowance. This means that 1.2 million of the poorest households will keep more of their award each month, lifting children out of poverty, and those who benefit will gain an average of £420 a year. Madam Deputy Speaker, our plan to make work pay will also protect working people. I know that the party opposite are deeply interested in our plans here. Having seen their colleagues repeatedly dismissed at short notice, I know that they are worried about their future under the Right Honourable Member for North West Essex. So they should rest easy, knowing that our plan will protect working people from unfair dismissal. It will safeguard them from bullying in the workplace. And it will improve their access to paternity and maternity leave. I hope that the new Shadow Cabinet will soon be grateful for these increased protections out there. It is right that we protect those who have worked all their lives. In our manifesto, we promised to transfer the Investment Reserve Fund in the Mine Workers Pension Scheme to members. And I have listened closely to my honourable friends.
Nahi, taxes increase on GBP won't go weaker, it will go opposite possibly. So we're going to buy now and take the profit on GBP, Euro GBP as well. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਟੈਕਸਿਸ ਇਨਕਰੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਰੰਸੀ ਦੀ ਡਿਮਾਂਡ ਹੈ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਕੋ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਦੇ ਵਿਲ ਬੀ ਲੈਸ ਮਨੀ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟਿੰਗ
to ensure that our pensioners are protected in their retirement.
So I got to sell in Euro GBP and buy in GBP USD now. I didn't close GBP USD JPY yet. So
will be uprated by 4.1% in 2025-26. This means that over 12 million pensioners will gain up to £470 next year, up to £275 more than if uprated by inflation. The pension credit standard minimum guarantee will also rise by 4.1%, from around £11,400 per year to around £11,850 a year for a single pensioner. While I have sought to protect working people with measures to reduce the cost of living, I've had to take some very difficult decisions on tax. I want to set out my approach to fuel duty.
oh, bloody
The
hell.
numbers that I inherited from the previous government.
So she's going to increase the fuel first.
Fuel duty will rise by RPI next year.
Woo.
And that the temporary 5p cut will be reversed.
Oh, fuck.
To retain the 5p cut and to freeze fuel duty again would cost over £3 billion.
Bloody hell.
At a time when the fiscal position is so difficult, I have to be frank with the House.
Oh.
This is a substantial commitment to make. I have concluded that in these difficult circumstances, while the cost of living remains high, and with a backdrop of global uncertainty, increasing fuel duty next year would be the wrong choice for working people.
So what the hell are you doing then?
Duty rising by 7p per litre. So I have decided today to freeze fuel duty next year, and I will maintain the existing cut for another year too. There will be
What you on about before?
There will be no higher taxes at the petrol pumps next year.
Okay.
Madam Deputy Speaker, the last government made cuts of £20 billion to employees and self-employed national insurance in their final two budgets. These tax cuts were not honest. Because we now know that they were based on a forecast which the OBR say would have been materially different. It would have been materially different had they known the true extent of the last government's cover-up. Since July, I have been urged on multiple occasions to reconsider these cuts, to increase the taxes that working people pay and see in their payslips. But I have made an important choice today, to keep every single commitment that we made on tax in our manifesto. So I say to working people, I will not increase your national insurance. I will not increase your VAT, and I will not increase your income tax.
Okay. That's interesting.
See higher taxes in their payslips as a result of the choices that I am making today.
So GBP USD is in profit, guys. So make sure protected now.
would lead to
Euro GBP salaries in profit, make sure
increase the
protected.
revenues required to fund our public services and to restore economic stability. So in today's budget, I am announcing an increase in employers' national insurance contributions.
Yeah.
We will increase the rate of employers' national insurance by 1.2 percentage points to 15% from April 2025. And we will reduce the secondary threshold, the level at which employers start paying national insurance on each employee's salary, from £9,100 a year to £5,000. This will raise £25 billion per year by the end of the forecast
Fuck
period.
that.
I know that this is a difficult choice.
Oh, bloody hell. That's gonna close so many businesses.
We are asking businesses to contribute more, and I know that there will be impacts of this measure felt beyond.
You will be bloody closing down the businesses. What you asking them more for?
But in this circumstance,
Our constituents are watching, they need to be able to hear the Chancellor. Simmer down. Chancellor.
but in the circumstances that I have inherited, it is the right choice to make. Successful businesses depend on successful schools. Healthy businesses depend on a healthy NHS. And a strong economy depends on strong businesses. If the party chooses to oppose this choice, then they are choosing more austerity, more chaos, more instability. This is the choice that our country faces too. As I make this choice, I know it is particularly important to protect our smallest companies. So having heard representations from the Federation of Small Businesses and others, I am today increasing the employment allowance from £5,000 to £10,500.
Woo! That's good.
This means 865,000 employers won't pay any national insurance at all next year.
Good.
And over 1 million will pay the same or less than they did previously. This will allow a small business to employ the equivalent of 4 full-time workers on the national living wage without paying any national insurance on their wages. Madam Deputy Speaker,
Not bad for small
let me now
business.
come to capital gains tax. We need to drive growth, promote entrepreneurship and support wealth creation.
Yeah, so pound will go stronger now.
Revenue required to fund our public services
Just
and
make the money.
our public finances. Today, we will increase the lower rate of capital gains tax from 10 to 18% and the higher rate from 20 to 24%, while maintaining the rates of capital gains
So
tax.
keep increasing the profit, guys, on Euro GBP and USD,
This
GBP
means the
USD.
UK will still have the lowest capital gains tax rate of any European G7 economy. Alongside these changes to the headline rates of capital gains tax, we are maintaining the lifetime limit for business asset disposal relief at £1 million to encourage entrepreneurs to invest in their businesses. Business asset disposal relief
I didn't get
will
it.
remain at 10% this year before rising to 14% in April 2025 and to 18% from 2026-27, maintaining a significant gap compared to the higher rate of capital gains tax.
Oh.
The OBR say that these measures will raise £2.5 billion by the end of the forecast. In a sign of this government's commitment to supporting growth and entrepreneurship, we have already extended the Enterprise Investment Scheme and the Venture Capital Trust schemes to 2035. And we will continue to work with leading entrepreneurs and venture capital funds to ensure that our policies support a positive environment for entrepreneurship in the UK. Next, inheritance tax. Only 6% of estates will pay inheritance tax this year. I understand the strongly held desire to pass down savings to children and grandchildren. So I am taking a balanced approach in my package today. First, the previous government froze inheritance tax thresholds until 2028. I will extend that freeze for a further 2 years until 2030. That means the first £325,000 of any estate can be inherited tax-free.
Oh, that's
rising
good.
to £500,000 if the estate includes a resident passed to direct descendants, and £1 million when a tax-free allowance is passed to a surviving spouse or civil partner. Second, we will close the loophole created by the previous government, made even bigger when the lifetime allowance was abolished, by bringing inherited pensions into inheritance tax from April 2027.
Oh,
Finally, we will reform
that's
agricultural
okay.
property
They're targeting the
and
rich.
business property relief. From April 2026, the first £1 million of combined business and agricultural assets will continue to attract no inheritance tax at all. But for assets over £1 million,
Bloody capital gains goes from 18 to 24%, which is gonna hit us harder.
of 20%. This will ensure that we continue to protect small family farms and with three quarters of claims unaffected by these changes. I can also announce that we will apply a 50% relief in all circumstances on inheritance tax for shares on the alternative investment market and other similar markets, setting the effective rate of tax at 20%. Taken together, these measures raised over £2 billion by the final year of the forecast. Next, I can confirm that the government will renew the tobacco duty escalator for the remainder of this parliament at RPI plus 2%. Increase duty by a further 10% on hand-rolling tobacco this year. Introduce a flat rate duty on all vaping liquid from October 2026. Alongside an additional one-off increase in tobacco duty to maintain the incentive to give
ਉਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਸਿਗਟਾਂ ਪੀਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਕੁਛ ਹੋਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ ਇਕਨੋਮੀ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਹੈਲਪ ਹੋ
industry levy to account for inflation since it was introduced, as well as
profit ਵਧਾ ਲਓ guys GBP USD and Euro GBP increase on profits.
These measures will raise nearly £1 billion per year by the end of the forecast period. Madam Deputy Speaker, we want to support the take-up of electric vehicles, so I will maintain the incentives for electric vehicles in company car tax from 2028 and increase the differential between fully electric and other vehicles in the first-year rates of vehicle excise duty from April 2025. These measures will raise around £400 million by the end of the forecast period. Madam Deputy Speaker, let me update the House on our plans for air passenger duty. And I can see the right honourable gentleman's ears have pricked up. Air passenger duty has not kept up with inflation in recent years, so we are introducing an adjustment, meaning an increase of no more than £2 for an economy class short-haul flight. But I am taking a different approach when it comes to private jets.
Yeah.
Increasing the rates of air passenger duty by a further 50%. So
That's a big hit.
per passenger for a private jet to say, California? Madam Deputy Speaker, let us now turn to our high street businesses. I know for them, a major source of concern is business rates. From 2026-27, we intend to introduce 2 permanently lower tax rates for retail, hospitality and leisure properties, which make up the backbone of our high streets across the country. And it is our intention that it is paid for by a higher multiplier for the most valuable properties. But the previous government created a cliff edge next year as temporary reliefs end. So I will today provide 40% relief on business rates for the retail, hospitality and leisure industry in 2025-26, up to a cap of £110,000 per business. Alongside this, the small business tax multiplier will be frozen next year. Next, I can confirm that alcohol duty rates on non-draft products will increase in line with RPI from February next year. But nearly 2/3 of alcoholic drinks sold in pubs are served on draft. So today, instead of uprating these products in line with inflation, I am
So gold ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ trade ਖੋਲਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ TP2 been hit as well.
means a penny off the pints in the pub. Alongside the changes I am making today, I am publishing a corporate tax roadmap, providing the business certainty called for by the CBI, the British Chambers of Commerce, and the Institute for Directors. This confirms our commitment to cap the rate of corporation tax at 25%, the lowest in the G7 for the duration of this Parliament, while maintaining full expensing and the £1 million annual investment allowance, and keeping the current rates of research and development relief to drive innovation. Madam Deputy Speaker, in our manifesto, we made a number of commitments to raise funding for our public services.
To be honest, so far they haven't done bad.
Always said,
Like they protected the low-income people.
you should pay your taxes here too. So today I can confirm, we will abolish the non-dom tax regime.
Ooh.
And we will remove the outdated concept of domicile from the tax system from April 2025. We will introduce a new residence-based scheme with internationally competitive arrangements for those coming to the UK on a temporary basis, while closing the loopholes in the scheme designed by the party opposite. To further encourage investment into the UK, we will also extend the temporary repatriation relief to 3 years and expand its scope, bringing billions of pounds of new funds into Britain. The Independent Office for Budget Responsibility say that this package of measures will raise £12.7 billion over the next 5 years. Next, the funds management industry provides a vital contribution to our economy. But as our manifesto set out, there needs to be a fairer approach to the way that carried interest is taxed. So we will increase the capital gains rates on carried interest to 32% from April 2025. And from April 2026, we will deliver further reform to ensure that the specific rules for carried interest are simpler, fairer, and better targeted. In our manifesto, we committed to reforming stamp duty land tax to raise revenues while supporting those buying their first home. We are increasing the stamp duty land tax surcharge for second homes, known as the higher rate for additional...
That's good. Second home should be taxed.
...to 5%, which will come into effect from tomorrow.
That's good. Yay! In the housing market, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ affordability ਵਧੂਗੀ.
Additional transactions from people buying their first home or moving home over the next 5 years. Next, we are committed to reform the energy profits levy on oil and gas companies. I can confirm today that we will increase the rate of the levy to 38%, which will now expire in March 2030. And we will remove the 29% investment allowance to ensure that the oil and gas industry can protect jobs and support our energy security. So we will maintain the 100% first-year allowances and the decarbonisation allowances too. Finally, 94% of children in the UK attend state schools. To provide the highest quality of support and teaching that they deserve, we will introduce VAT on private school fees from January 2025. And we will shortly introduce legislation to remove their business rates relief from April 2025.
Oh, bloody hell. That's gonna close private schools.
That these changes, alongside our measures to tackle tax avoidance, would bring in £8.5 billion in the final year of the forecast. I can confirm today that they will in fact raise over £9 billion to support our public services and restore our public finances. That is a promise made and a promise fulfilled. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have one final decision to take on tax today. The previous government froze income tax and national insurance thresholds in 2021, and then they did so again after the mini-budget. Extending their threshold freeze for a further 2 years raises billions of pounds, money to deal with the black hole in our public finances and repair our public services. Having considered this issue closely, I have come to the conclusion that extending the threshold freeze would hurt working people. It would take more money out of their payslips, I'm keeping every single promise on tax that I made in our manifesto. So there will be no extension of the freeze in income tax and national insurance thresholds beyond the decisions by the previous government. From 2028 to 29, personal tax thresholds will be uprated in line with inflation once again.
That's good. That's good.
When it comes to choices on tax, this government chooses to protect working people every single time.
Not bad. The way it was negatively publicity,
These are the
you know,
choices I have made.
she done well.
To restore economic stability and to protect working people. The next choice I make is to begin to repair our public services. In recent months, we have conducted the first phase of the spending review.
Yeah, I got a sell open at 87, 27, 87.
2025 and 2025.
I'm just gonna protect it, but I'll go buy as well also.
My right honourable friend, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, for his tireless work with colleagues from across government. Because I have taken difficult decisions on tax today, I am able to provide an injection of immediate funding over the next 2 years to stabilise and to support our public services. The next phase of the spending review will report in late spring, and I have set the overall envelope today. Day-to-day spending from 2024-25 onwards will grow by 1.5% in real terms. And today, departmental spending, including capital spending, will grow by 1.7% in real terms. At the election, we promised there would be no return to austerity. Today, we deliver on that promise. But given the scale of the challenge that we are facing in our public services, that means there will still be difficult choices in the next phase of the spending review. Just as we cannot tax and spend our way to prosperity, nor can we simply spend our way to better public services. So we will deliver a new approach to public service reform, using technology to improve public services and taking a zero-based approach so that taxpayers' money is spent as effectively as possible. And so we focus on delivering our key priorities.
She's talking a lot about technology, ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਆਉਂਦੀ technology ਕਾਹਦੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ technology ਤਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆਈ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਦਾ like Birmingham Council ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਿਰਫ technology because they invest in the wrong computer system they bankrupt.
I know my right honourable friend, the Education Secretary, shares my ambition. So I am today tripling investment in breakfast clubs to fund them in
that's good.
schools.
Yeah, that's good.
I am increasing the core schools budget by £2.3 billion next year to support our pledge to hire thousands more teachers into key subjects. So that our young people can develop the skills that they need for the future, I am providing an additional £300 million for further education.
That's good. That's good.
And finally,
good for the
this
kids.
government is committed to reforming special educational needs provision, to improve outcomes for our most vulnerable children, and to ensure that the system is financially sustainable. To support that work, I am today providing.
So I'm buying the GBP USD and selling Euro GBP.
Real terms increase from
Again.
this year.
So I assume a pound will be stronger a bit.
Important job for government than to keep our country safe. And we are conducting a strategic defence review to be published next year. And as set out in our manifesto, we will set a path to spending 2.5% of GDP on defence at a future fiscal event. Today, I am announcing a total increase to the Ministry of Defence's budget of £2.9 billion next year, ensuring that the UK comfortably exceeds our NATO commitments and providing guaranteed military support to Ukraine of £3 billion per year for as long as it takes. Last week, alongside my right honourable friend, the Defence Secretary, I announced in addition to this, further support to Ukraine on top of our NATO commitment.
I think UK 100 should drop, isn't it? Because obviously the tax increase on businesses like that should put more burden on it. So the UK 100 should drop from here, I think. I assume.
As we approach Remembrance Sunday,
I'm gonna sell it.
that
Let's
we
see.
take time to remember those who have served our country so bravely. So I am today announcing funding to commemorate the 80th anniversary of VE and VJ Day next year, to honour those who served at home and abroad. We must also remember those who experienced the atrocities of the Nazi regime firsthand. I would like to pay tribute to Lily Ebert, the Holocaust survivor and educator who passed away aged 100 earlier this month. I am today committing a further £2 million to Holocaust education next year, so that charities like the Holocaust Educational Trust can continue their work to ensure that these vital testimonies are not lost and are preserved for the future. Madam Deputy Speaker, to repair our
The budget is bad for businesses, especially in the UK, but not as bad for
deliver a significant real terms funding increase
small businesses mainly.
next year, including £1.3 billion of additional grant funding to deliver essential services, with at least £600 million in grant funding for social care, and £230 million to tackle homelessness and rough sleeping. We are today confirming that Greater Manchester and the West Midlands will be the first mayoral authorities to receive integrated settlements from next year, giving mayors meaningful control of the funding for their local areas. And to support our high streets, we are taking action to deal with the sharp rise in shoplifting that we have seen in recent years. We will scrap the effective immunity for low-value shoplifting introduced by the party opposition.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And having listened closely to organisations like the British Retail Consortium and trade union USDOR, I am providing additional funding to crack down on the organised gangs which target retailers, and to provide more training to our police officers and retailers to stop shoplifting in its tracks. Finally, I am today providing funding to support public services and drive growth across Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Having discussed the matter with the First Minister of Wales, Eluned Morgan, and my honourable friends for Llanelli and Pontypridd, I am today providing £25 million to the Welsh Government next year for the maintenance of coal tips to ensure that we keep our communities safe. And to support growth, including in our rural areas, we will proceed with city and growth deals in Northern Ireland, in Causeway Coast and Glens, and the Mid-South West. And we will drive growth in Scotland, a key priority for Scottish Labour and our leader Anna Sarwar, including with a city and growth deal in Argyll and Bute. This budget provides the devolved governments with the largest real terms funding settlements since devolution, delivering an additional £3.4 billion to the Scottish Government through the Barnett formula. Funding which must now be used effectively in Scotland to deliver the public services that the people of Scotland deserve. This budget also provides £1.7 billion to the Welsh Government and £1.5 billion to the Northern Ireland Executive in 2025-26. I said that there would be no return to austerity, and that is the choice that I have made today. Madam Deputy Speaker, to rebuild our country, we need to increase investment. The UK lags behind every other G7 country when it comes to business investment as a share of our economy. That matters. It means the UK has fallen behind in the race for new jobs, new industries and new technology. By restoring economic stability and by establishing the National Wealth Fund to catalyse private funding, we have begun to create the conditions that businesses need to invest. But there is also a significant role for public investment. For too long, we have seen Conservative chancellors cut investment and raid capital budgets to plug gaps in day-to-day spending. The result is clear for all to see. Hospitals without the equipment they need. School buildings not fit for our children. A desperate lack of affordable housing. Economic growth held back at every turn. Under the plans I inherited, public investment was set to fall 2.5% to 1.7% of GDP. But in Washington last week, the International Monetary Fund were clear. More public investment is badly needed in the UK. So having listened to the case made by the former Governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, former Treasury Minister Jim O'Neill, and the former Cabinet Secretary Gus O'Donnell, among others, I am confirming our investment law. As set out in our manifesto, we will target debt falling as a share of the economy. Debt will be defined as public sector net financial liabilities, or net financial debt for short. A metric that has been measured...
Gold is falling heavily. I don't know if somebody did sold it, so I'm just keep protecting from the back.
Since that date too. Net financial debt recognises that government investment delivers returns for taxpayers. By counting not just the liabilities on a government's balance sheet, but the financial assets too. This means that we count the benefits of that investment.
So I'm buying GBP JPY. If you want to close a little bit loss in GBP JPY, it's up to you guys.
Just as they do.
I believe pound should get a bit stronger. Because she haven't done bad, to be honest. She done good. Bit more taxes though, but we won't see like big boost in a pound. But overall, we will see a good strength in the pound.
Today, the OBR say that we are already meeting our target 2 years early, with net financial debt falling by 2027-28, with £15.7 billion of headroom in the final year. So that we drive the right incentives in government investments, we will introduce 4 key guardrails to ensure capital spending is good value for money and drives growth in our economy. First, our portfolio of new financial investments will be delivered by expert bodies like the National Wealth Fund.
Yeah, businesses will get affected a lot. Business rates, the discount from 75% to go down to 40%. So that will increase, literally double the business rate for some of the shop owners. You know, the shops are bit like medium-sized business premises and stuff. Even छोटी शॉपां वाले को भी tax देना पड़ना है, so they will get business rates increase as well. So yeah, the businesses will suffer definitely. So, but then it will raise more taxes, which is good for the pound.
Taken together with our stability rule, these fiscal rules will ensure that our public finances are on a firm footing, while enabling us to invest prudently alongside business. The capital plans that I now set out to drive growth across our country and repair the fabric of our nation are only possible because of our investment law. Let me set out those investment plans. Today, we are confirming our plans to capitalise the National Wealth Fund to invest in the industries of the future, from gigafactories to ports to green hydrogen. Building on these investments, my right honourable friend, the Business Secretary, is driving forward our modern industrial strategy. Working with businesses and organisations like Make UK to set out the sectors with the biggest growth potential. Today, we are confirming multi-year funding commitments for these areas of our economy, including nearly £1 billion for the aerospace sector to fund vital research and development, building on our industry in the East Midlands, the South West and in Scotland. Over £2 billion for the automotive sector to support our electric vehicle industry and develop our manufacturing base, building on our strengths in the North East and the West Midlands. And up to £520 million for a new life sciences innovative manufacturing fund. For our world-leading creative industries, we will legislate to provide additional tax relief for visual effect costs in TV and film. And we are providing £25 million for the North East Combined Authority, which they plan to use to remediate the Crownworks studio site in Sunderland, creating 8,000 new jobs. To unlock these growth industries of the future, We will protect government investment in research and development with more than £20 billion worth of funding. This includes at least £6.1 billion to protect core research funding for areas like engineering, biotechnology and medical science. Through Research England, other research councils and the national academies. We will extend the Innovation Accelerators programme in Glasgow, in Manchester and in the West Midlands. And with over £500 million of funding next year, my right honourable friend, the Science, Technology and Innovation Secretary, will continue to drive progress in improving reliable, fast broadband and mobile coverage across our country, including in rural areas. We committed in our manifesto to build 1.5 million homes over the course of this Parliament. And my right honourable friend, the Deputy Prime Minister, is driving that work forward across government. Today I am providing over £5 billion of government investment to deliver our plans on housing next year. We will increase the Affordable Homes Programme to £3.1 billion, delivering thousands of new homes. We will provide
ਇਹ thousands ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੋਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀ I will deliver millions of new homes.
small house builders. And we will provide investment to renovate sites across our country, including at Liverpool Central Docks, where we will deliver 2,000 new homes. And Cambridge realise its full growth potential. Alongside this investment,
So GBP JPY ਜਿਹੜਾ buy ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ is in profit, so protected. GBP USD the buy is in profit, protected.
from local authorities,
Euro GBP is at the balance
and
yet.
from shelter, I can today confirm that the government will reduce right to buy discounts and local authorities will be able to retain the full receipts from any so that we can reinvest them back into the housing stock and into new supply. By doing this, we will give more people a safe, secure and affordable place to live. We will provide stability to social housing providers. The social housing rent settlement of CPI plus 1% for the next 5 years. And we will deliver on our manifesto commitment to hire hundreds of new planning officers to get Britain building better. We will also make progress on our commitment to accelerate the remediation of homes following the findings of the Grenfell inquiry, with £1 billion of investment to remove dangerous cladding next year. The last government made a number of promises on transport, but it failed to fund them. Working with my right honourable friend, the Transport Secretary.
So I'm going to close it because I opened GBP AUD buys, GBP CAD buy, so I'm going to close all of them. They're all running in profit. GBP CHF buy.
Delivering fully electric local and regional services.
GBP JP buy is protected now, so if you want to keep hold on to it, it's up to you guys. I'm closing GBP NZD.
Services between Church Fenton and York by
GBP USD, I'm increasing my profit.
across the north of England.
GBP Euro is still in balance. UK 100 is not in profit, so let's see, we wait on that.
Between Oxford, Milton Keynes and Cambridge. With the first services running between Oxford, Bletchley and Milton Keynes next year. And trains between Oxford and Bedford running from 2030. We are delivering railway schemes which improve journeys for people across our country, including upgrades at Bradford Forster Square Station, improving capacity at Manchester Victoria and electrifying the Wigan to Bolton line. My right honourable friend, the Transport Secretary, has also set out a plan for how to get a grip of HS2. Today, we are securing delivery of the project between Old Oak Common and Birmingham, and we are committing the funding required to begin tunnelling work to London Euston Station. This will catalyse private investment into the local area, delivering jobs and growth. I am also funding significant improvements to our roads network. For too long, potholes have been an all too visible reminder of our failure to invest as a nation. Today, that changes. With £500 million increase in road maintenance budgets next year, more than delivering on our manifesto commitment to fix an additional 1 million potholes each year. We will provide over £650 million of local transport funding to improve connections across our country, in towns like Crewe and Grimsby, and in our villages and rural areas from Cornwall to Cumbria. And while the previous government's policy was for the bus fare cap to end this December, we understand how important bus services are for our communities. And so we will extend the cap for a further year, setting it at £3 until December 2025. Finally, we will deliver £1.3 billion of funding to improve connectivity in our city regions, funding projects like the Brierley Hill Metro extension in the West Midlands, the renewal of Sheffield Supertram, and the West Yorkshire Mass Transit, including in Bradford and Leeds. Madam Deputy Speaker, to bring new jobs to Britain and to drive growth across our country, we are delivering our mission to make Britain a clean energy superpower, led by my right honourable friend, the Energy Secretary. Earlier this month, we announced a significant multi-year investment between government and business into carbon capture and storage, creating 4,000 jobs across Merseyside and Teesside. Today, I am providing funding for 11 new green hydrogen projects across England, Scotland and Wales. They will be amongst the...
To be honest, she's good. She's a lot different than what people were expecting or how she was projected.
We are kick-starting the Warm Homes Plan by confirming an initial £3.4 billion over the next 3 years to transform 350,000 homes, including a quarter...
Okay, GBP-JPY, the buy and protect kitas is closed again.
And we will establish GB Energy, providing funding next year.
GBP-USD is still running in profit. Euro-GBP is still on level.
In Aberdeen.
UK 100 is still running a little bit in loss, but I'll wait for that. I want to recommend that to enter in because it's a habit here.
£100 billion over the next 5 years in capital spending, only possible because of our investment rule. The OBR say today that this investment will drive growth across our country in the next 5 years, and in the longer term, increase GDP by up to 1.4%. It will crowd in private investment, meaning more jobs and more...
Dollar should gain strength, but the problem with the dollar is there is a level, the contest is very tough between Kamala and Donald. So problem ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਆਉਣੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ least majority ਜੇ ਘੱਟ thin majority ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ president ਬਣੂਗਾ, there is a chance of getting bills passed in their Congress level. So America ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ problem ਰਹੀ ਆ. So that could weaken the dollar further, not strengthen it. But if one of the president will come with a stronger margin, then dollar will get strengthened.
Sixth form was prefab huts in the playground. My school, like so many others, was rebuilt by the last Labour government. But today, after 14 years of Tory government, progress has gone backwards. School roofs are crumbling and millions of children are facing the same backdrop as I did. I will be the Chancellor that changes that. So today, I am providing £6.7 billion of capital investment to the Department of Education next year, and 90% real terms increase on this year. That includes £1.4 billion to rebuild over 500 schools in the greatest need, including St Helens Primary School in Hartlepool and Mercia Academy in Derby, and so many more across
ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ GBP JPY ਦਾ ਸੈੱਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲਾਇਆ ਸੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹਲੇ I would suggest you to close it on the balance now. So it's up to you guys. If you want to keep it open, it's up to you.
ensuring that all our children can learn somewhere safe, including dealing with RAC-affected schools in the constituencies of my right honourable friends for Watford, Stourbridge, Hyndburn and beyond. Alongside investment in new teachers and funding through thousands of new breakfast clubs, this government is giving our children and young people the opportunities that they deserve. Madam Deputy Speaker, I come to our most cherished public service of all, our NHS. My right honourable friend, the Health Secretary, is beginning to repair the damage of the last 14 years. In our first week in office, he commissioned an independent report into the state of our health service by Lord Darcy. Its conclusions were damning. While our NHS staff do a remarkable job, and we thank them for it, it is clear that in so many areas, they're moving in the wrong direction. 100,000 infants waited over 6 hours in A&E last year. 350,000 people are waiting a year for mental health support. Cancer deaths here higher than in other countries. It is simply unforgivable. In the spring, we will publish a 10-year plan for the NHS to deliver a shift from hospital to community, from analogue to digital, and from sickness to prevention. Today, we are announcing a down payment on that plan to enable the NHS to deliver 2% productivity growth next year. These reforms are vital, but we should be honest. The state of the NHS that we have inherited after, and I quote Lord Darcy, the most austere decade since the NHS was founded, means that reform
GBP USD, increase your profits if you guys want, and put the TP2
because of the difficult decisions that I have taken on tax,
1.3010.
I can announce that I am providing a £22.6 billion increase in the day-to-day health budget and a £3.1 billion increase in the capital budget.
Gold buy ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਸੈਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਬਾਈ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਆ so I won't recommend it to enter in the gold now.
Let me set out what this funding is delivering. Many NHS buildings have been left in a state of disrepair. So we will provide £1 billion of health capital investment next year to address the backlog of repairs and upgrades across our NHS. To increase capacity for tens of thousands
Oil, I think oil should go down. Well, as we speak, it's already down. It's on 67 now. So oil should go down towards
and new surgical hubs and diagnostic centres.
Maybe around 64, 63. Because there's nothing exciting happening in oil industry at the moment, so oil doesn't have much hope.
The Health Secretary will be setting out further details of his review into the new hospital programme in the coming weeks and publishing in the new year. But I can tell the House today that work will continue at pace to deliver those 7 hospitals affected by the RAC crisis, including West Suffolk Hospital in Bury St Edmunds and Leighton Hospital in Crewe. And finally, because of this record injection of funding, because of the thousands of additional beds that we have secured, and because of the reforms that we are delivering in our NHS, we can now begin to bring waiting lists down more quickly and move towards our target for waiting times to be no longer than 18 weeks. By delivering on our manifesto commitment for 40,000 extra hospital appointments
I will see all that.
That is the difference that this Labour government
18
is
weeks,
making.
bloody.
Madam Deputy Speaker, made today are the right choices for our to restore stability to our public finances, to protect working people, to fix our NHS, and to rebuild Britain. That doesn't mean these choices are easy, but they are responsible. If the party opposite disagrees with the choices that I have made, then they must...
Gold ji मैं share करता है. I put the signal in VIP group. Have a look in that. So I shared everything there. So while we were watching this event, we traded gold 3 times.
The path taken by Liz Truss and ignore the problems in our public finances altogether. If that is their choice, they should say so. But let me be clear. If they disagree with my choices on tax, then they would not be able to protect working people. If they disagree with our plans to fund public services, then they would have to cut schools and hospitals. And if they disagree with our investment rule, then they would have to delay or cancel thousands of projects which drive growth across our country. This is a moment of fundamental choice for Britain. I have made my choices, the responsible choices, to restore stability to our country, to protect working people.
So GBP USD is giving us huge profit now. Euro USD come back in profit as well now.
Homes being built, fixing the foundations of our economy, investing in our future, delivering change, rebuilding Britain. We on these benches commend those choices, and I commend this statement to the House.
To be honest, she done well for general public, but not well for the businesses. I think UK will see the largest drain in brain drain especially. We will see a lot of businesses closing down. We will see a lot of people, like especially with some money, leaving the country. Today, the people can set up businesses outside the country. But it does raise taxes a lot, and that kind of tax burden on small businesses, and especially rates, there are a lot of businesses gonna get affected with the rates. Shortiyan shoppa, shorte jehde business ya, they are the biggest going to be affected with the rates.
There were also announcements about income tax thresholds.
So I'll see you guys. I need to start packing because I got a flight, and I'm busy tomorrow and day after tomorrow, but I will be still active in the VIP group. ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ update ਕਰਦਾ ਰਹੂੰਗਾ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਆ. Won't be sending too many signals, but I will be sending as much as we need to make good money. So thank you guys. Thank you for sticking around. I have already shared my TikTok link, ਨਵੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫਾਈਲ ਦਾ ਲਿੰਕ ਮੇਰੇ ਟੈਲੀਗ੍ਰਾਮ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. ਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਨਵਾਂ ਲਿੰਕ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. ਐਂਡ I will soon update video on Telegram, TikTok ਤੇ ਵੀ. ਤੇ we take it from there with a new account. And we built it back again, don't worry. ਪਰ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆ. So we got all those videos are in our on our YouTube channel. So from now on, I think I'm gonna concentrate mainly on YouTube, make more video for YouTube, and then spread it from YouTube to further places. ठीक है? So love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Look after yourself, everyone. I hope you guys made money. So far एक GBP JPY थोड़ा जा बैठ गया सी, पर we managed to level it up. So everything else we done, gold, GBP USD, Euro GBP, everything was in profit. Everything in profit so far. So we haven't closed. Even GBP USD is still running good huge profit as well. Yeah, so it's running in huge profit now. So I'm protecting at least £500 on GBP USD. So it's constantly going up. Pound is gonna go stronger now. There is nothing wrong with the budget. It's a good budget for the country, but bad budget for the small people, small businesses basically. So business UK will get very hard to run a business. So people will suffer here. That's the more I can predict coming future in the UK. But overall, a general public will be okay. ਪਰ general public ਨੂੰ ਜੌਬਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣਗੀਆਂ ਜੇ business survive ਕਰਨਗੇ. ਜੇ business ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ survive ਕਰਨਗੇ, so we will see the largest unemployment coming into UK in a few years time as well. So we might see unprecedented amount of people going workless, and because ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ tax burden businesses ਤੇ ਪਏ ਆ, they're gonna get those the businesses, yeah, they're gonna sack people, they're gonna get rid of people to pay those taxes, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ wages ਆ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਆ, they want ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ ਆ, they want them to work hard to keep up with the people ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ sack ਕਰਨੇ ਆ. So it will be hard for UK in terms of longer run. So ਦੇ 1-2 ਸਾਲ ਤੱਕ ਇਹਦੇ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਪਰ ਲੱਗਣੇ business ਤੇ, but I can't see anything good will happen in next 2 years. So let's see. Take care, guys. I'm gonna go offline now, and I'll speak to you guys soon.